Russia's plan to launch its lunar lander on Friday is the latest in an international push to return to the moon. And that, by the way, includes the world's top powers, also new players. Our next report tells you more about how the Russian lunar mission will coincide with the Indian moon mission, as the two attempt to land near the moon's south pole on the same day.
The moon. It has mystified humans since the beginning of time. And though we've set foot on the lunar surface 50 years ago, once again there is renewed interest to explore the Earth's only natural satellite. We've been tracking India's ambitious lunar mission Chandrayaan-3, which is all set to make a soft touchdown on the lunar surface on August 23rd. But India's Chandrayaan-3 mission will be having company from the Russians. The Russian space agency Roscosmos is all set to launch its moon mission Luna 25 on Friday. This will be Russia's first attempt at a lunar landing in 47 years. The Russian space agency Roscosmos says that its aircraft will take about 5 days to travel to the moon. It will then spend around 5 to 7 days in lunar orbit before landing. The timing of the Russian mission is curiously coinciding with the landing of the Indian lunar mission. Both Chandrayaan and Luna 25 will be landing near the unexplored south pole of the moon. Roscosmos said the two missions would not get in each other's way because they have different landing areas planned. Chandrayaan-3 is due to run experiments for 2 weeks, while Luna 25 will work on the moon for a year. There's no rivalry between ISRO and Roscosmos. Both Russia and India have worked closely over the past 4 decades. Indian Air Force fighter Squadron Commander Rakesh Sharma had travelled to the Soviet Salyut 7 space station in 1984.
ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है आपको?
मैं बगैर किसी झिझक के कह सकता हूँ कि सारे जहां से अच्छा.
Becoming the first Indian cosmonaut. In the 1970s and 80s, the Soviet Union had launched the first Indian satellite, Aryabhat. And recently, Indian astronauts preparing for the upcoming Gaganyaan mission were trained in Russia. But right now, both Indian and Russian moon missions are racing to become the first ones to land on the lunar south pole. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Shifting focus now to India. Earlier today, the Modi government defeated a no-confidence motion for the second time in 9 years. The lower house of the Indian Parliament, the Lok Sabha, initiated the no-trust debate on Tuesday after days of fiery debate over a range of issues, including and especially over the violence in Manipur, criticizing the opposition parties for playing personal politics instead of focusing on India's growth story. Prime Minister Modi said they have a secret boon which goes like this: whenever they wish ill for someone, he succeeds. Our next report telling you more.
Countering the opposition's no-confidence motion in the lower house of the parliament, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called it a test for the opposition, not his government. While replying to the no-confidence motion brought against his government, PM Modi took jibes at the opposition.
देश की जनता ने हमारी सरकार के प्रति बार बार जो विश्वास जताया है, मैं आज देश के कोटि-कोटि नागरिकों का आभार व्यक्त करने के लिए उपस्थित हुआ हूं कि अविश्वास प्रस्ताव हमारी सरकार का फ्लोर टेस्ट नहीं है, मैंने उस दिन कहा था, बल्कि ये उन्हीं का फ्लोर टेस्ट है, ये मैंने उस दिन भी कहा।
The motion initiated by the opposition to question the Modi government's handling of the situation in Manipur marks the second time the Prime Minister has faced such a challenge.
हमारी जनता की आवाज है।
Referring to the latest series of bills passed in both the houses, he accused the opposition of being embroiled in their own politics instead of focusing on what the people of India want.
सत्ता की भूख,
The Prime Minister highlighted his government's corruption-free legacy, how the government has empowered youth, and questioned the opposition's track record.
हमने भारत के युवाओं को घोटालों से रहित सरकार दी है। हमने भारत के युवाओं को, आज के हमारे प्रोफेशनल्स को खुले आसमान में उड़ने के लिए हौसला दिया है, अवसर दिया है। मेरा पक्का विश्वास हो गया है कि विपक्ष के लोगों को एक सीक्रेट वरदान मिला हुआ है। हाँ, सीक्रेट वरदान मिला हुआ है। और वरदान ये कि ये लोग जिसका बुरा चाहेंगे उसका भलाई ही होगा।
Pointing to the opposition's assertions about a collapsing banking sector, PM Modi highlighted India's growth story.
कांग्रेस के लोगों को लगता होगा कि कोई जादू से लकड़ी से हुआ है, लेकिन मैं आज सदन को बताना चाहता हूं, माननीय अध्यक्ष, रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म, एक निश्चित आयोजन, प्लानिंग और कठोर परिश्रम की पराकाष्ठा, और इसी की वजह से आज देश इस मुकाम पर पहुंचा है। और ये प्लानिंग और परिश्रम की निरंतरता बनी रहेगी। आवश्यकता अनुसार उसमें नए रिफॉर्म होंगे और परफॉर्मेंस के लिए पूरी तरह ताकत को लगाया जाएगा, और परिणाम ये होगी कि हम तीसरे नंबर पर पहुंच के रहेंगे।
The Congress especially faced the wrath of the Prime Minister, who declared that India has lost confidence in the political party. Referring to Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Nagaland, West Bengal and Odisha states, PM Modi said India accused the Congress of favouring and creating a system akin to a royal court.
और कांग्रेस की माने अगर सब कुछ अपने आप ही हो जाने वाला है, इसका मतलब है कांग्रेस के पास न नीति है, न नीयत है, न विजन है, न वैश्विक अर्थव्यवस्था की समझ है, और न ही भारत के अर्थ जगत के ताकत का पता है। और इसलिए सोए सोए सब हो जाएगा, यही एक आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, भारत के लोगों का कांग्रेस के प्रति नो कॉन्फिडेंस का भाव बहुत गहरा है।
Taking a jibe at the opposition alliance of 26 parties, Modi stated that the alliance has sizable Prime Minister contenders who are now conveniently becoming friends with those who were their political rivals.
अध्यक्ष जी, आज जो हालत, इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, अभी हालात ऐसे हैं, इसलिए हाथों में हाथ। अभी हालात ऐसे हैं, इसलिए हाथों में हाथ। जहां हालात तो बदले, फिर छुरियां भी निकलेगी।
And our next story is about Hunter Biden, the younger son of US President Joe Biden. He is back in the headlines once again, and not for the best of reasons. On Wednesday, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee released another report on Hunter's shenanigans. The report criticized him and the entire Biden family for their alleged corrupt business dealings. And the White House does not agree with this assertion. They say the report is a political hatched job that offers no proof about Joe Biden's involvement. We'll get to that in just a bit and discuss it. But first, what are the allegations? They have been leveled by James Comer, the chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. And this is what they state. Number one, the Bidens and their business associates received millions from oligarchs in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine during Joe Biden's vice presidency. Number two, after Hunter Biden received millions of dollars in payments, the then vice president, Joe Biden, dined with his son's foreign associates in Washington in order to build influence. Number three, Joe Biden was the brand sold to enrich the Biden family and was used to send signals of access, power, influence. Let me just quote the exact statement from the report now. During Joe Biden's vice presidency, Hunter Biden sold him as the brand to reap millions from oligarchs in Kazakhstan, Russia, and Ukraine. It appears no real services were provided other than access to the Biden network, including Joe Biden himself. It's clear Joe Biden knew about his son's business dealings and allowed himself to be the brand sold to enrich the Biden family while he was Vice President of the United States. What is the basis for these claims? This, the report does not reveal, but the timing of the allegations is very interesting. They come right after some sensational testimonies that were given by American officials. And this includes the testimonies of a pair of whistleblowers from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service of the United States. In fact, in July, they claimed that there was alleged meddling in the Justice Department's investigation on Hunter Biden. One of them was Special Agent Joseph Ziegler, a 13-year veteran of the IRS. And this is what he told the American media. I'm quoting, "When you are prevented from going down certain roads, I guess I don't know what could have been found if we were not hamstrung or not handcuffed." This was the first whistleblower. The second whistleblower's name is Gary Shapley. In the month of July, he also testified before the House Oversight Committee, claiming that the investigation into the Hunter Biden case was very different from any other case he had seen in his 14 years at the IRS. Listen to this now.
Based on my experience, I'm here to tell you that the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office and Department of Justice handling the Hunter Biden tax investigation was very different from any other case in my 14 years at the IRS. At every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of this investigation. For example, prosecutors concealed contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from investigators. DOJ slow-walked steps to include interviews, serving document requests, and executing search warrants. Warrants that were ready as early as April of 2020, but were delayed until after the November 2020 election and never pursued.
A month on, these allegations have been compiled in a report against the Biden family. The Democrats are calling it a smear campaign, an effort by the Republicans to smear Joe Biden without any evidence or information suggesting wrongdoing, they say. And a fierce political battle naturally has followed. A war over narratives is waging online as well. We haven't heard the last of this story. The war in Ukraine has taken yet another turn after the enormous casualties of infantry engagement on land ending in a bloody stalemate on a line roughly claimed by Russia. It has shifted to the skies and the seas. The preferred weapon of choice by both sides being drones, but it's more than that. Russia and Ukraine have now pitched in with their air and naval power, unleashing drones and missiles on one another, trying to gain the upper hand in the war. But the big question is, can either of them actually declare victory by winning in the skies and the seas? Can these aerial and naval battles really turn the tables in this war? Or has it become a war of attrition with no end in sight to the death and the destruction? These are the questions we will try to answer tonight. But let's start off with the very latest. Earlier this morning, the Russian Defense Ministry issued a statement. It said it had shot down 11 Ukrainian drones. Out of this, 2 drones were downed near the city of Sevastopol on the Crimean coast. 9 drones were suppressed by means of electronic warfare in the Black Sea. Not just that, the ministry added there were no reports of damage or casualties in the affected areas. And these alleged strikes came just a day after Russia made yet another such claim. On Wednesday, it claimed to have shot down 2 more Ukrainian combat drones. They were apparently headed for the Russian capital, Moscow. And it does not end there, by the way. The list of drone attacks on Russia is slightly longer. On Monday, Ukrainian drones were shot down in the Kaluga region. That's barely 200 kilometers southwest of Moscow. And a day before that, on Sunday, Ukrainian drones were shot in the Podolsky district, which is also located on Moscow's outskirts. And if we go further back, last week, 7 more drones were shot down near the Kaluga region again. And in May, drones crashed in Moscow's business district twice in 3 days. And the same month, Russia averted the first reported drone attack against the Kremlin. But what do these developments really mean, and what do they tell you? That after a series of battlefield setbacks, Ukraine has turned to drones to take on Russia, not just in the air, but also in the water. Have a look at these visuals now. They are from last week. They show a maritime Ukrainian drone attacking a Russian ship. The ship is thought to be the Olegorski Gornyak. The attack unfolded near the coastline of Novorossiysk, which is a major hub for Russian oil exports. Reports say there were at least 2 such sea drones. One of them was carrying 450 kilograms of dynamite. It rammed into the Russian ship, causing a serious breach. A video, in fact, showed the ship being tugged to the shore by another vessel. And again, it does not end there. Besides using advanced military drones, Ukrainian soldiers are also using cheap homemade drones to destroy Russian armored vehicles. Have a look at the report on your screen. Ukrainian troops are making drones out of cardboards and rubber bands to fight the Russians. In fact, one such drone is described by a media report as the quote-unquote origami of death. Full marks for creativity and also for the spirit. But the question again is, how much can these drones really achieve? You see, the Ukraine war is first and foremost a land battle. Yes, controlling the Black Sea and the airspace is important. It can make either side vulnerable. But to turn the battle in their favor, both the sides will have to actually make gains on land, in each other's territories, in each other's cities and districts. So if we just look at it this way, who is winning? This map giving you an idea. The regions marked in red showing territories under Russian control. This includes Luhansk, Bakhmut, Donetsk, Mariupol, Melitopol, and the areas surrounding these places. What about Ukraine? Well, so far it has only managed to regain Kherson and Kharkiv. And besides this, it has reclaimed some villages near Donetsk and Bakhmut. And last we checked, the battle for full control was still underway. Just to put it more bluntly, the counter-offensive is not going as per plan. In fact, it's moving at a slow and lethargic pace. And it's also not yielding any major battlefield gains. I'm not alone in saying this. The Western media also is. From the Washington Post to CNN, they are all talking about how the pace of the counteroffensive has darkened the mood in Ukraine. So these aerial drone battles, the maritime drone attacks, are symbolic victories at best. They might be making global headlines, they might lead to some statements and reactions, but they are far from getting Ukraine an edge over Russia. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.